Hey, welcome back to the interface. My name's Alex and today we're looking at the Honda Civic Hybrid Advance. This car is on sale now in the UK for £36,470 and I think you get a lot for the money. It's quite a large car actually. It's a lot larger than the outgoing Honda Civic. In my opinion, this looks a lot better than the outgoing car. It looks a lot more modern in design. The front end looks similar but a lot better really. The interior's changed a lot. We'll have a look at the interior in a few minutes. But some of the headline stats on this. So this is a hybrid only vehicle. It's not a plug-in hybrid. It's sort of like a, not even a mild hybrid, but it's sort of in the middle between a plug-in and a mild hybrid. The car runs, it can run in EV only mode. It's got like a small 1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The car will run in EV only mode in town when you go in slower speed. If you put the throttle down, it will speed up and then kick in the engine. So we've got an eCVT gearbox. So it's actually not really a gearbox, sort of direct drive with the tyres. Again, it's hybrid only. It's got an eHEV system like the Honda Jazz and the Honda HR-V. The electric drives the car most of the time, just drives like an EV, but at motorway speeds, the petrol engine sends the power to the wheels. And that's like a 1-to-1 ratio, which is interesting. So around the front, we've got this quite a large bonnet. This particular model comes with its nice white pearlescent paint, which in certain lights looks really, really nice actually. It's a really nice high quality finish. We've got this Honda badge with the blue outlining, indicating that's probably the fact that it's a hybrid. The sort of honeycomb mesh design. And this model has the sport pack, so we've got the black trim around here. We've also got the fog lights down here and these nice headlights, which are really, really good at night time actually. I was quite impressed. Around the front, we've also got the parking sensors here. And under the bonnet, as again, that's the hybrid system under there. So, welcome to the interior of the Honda Civic Hybrid. This car's on sale now, has been since autumn last year. And I've been driving around for the past few days, and I've got to say, it is a fantastic car. I mean, if you're in the market for a saloon car, cannot ignore the Honda Civic. It's a car that I've not really paid much attention to, not even really considered it. Obviously, the only one I've been really interested in is the Honda Civic Type R. That one, I think he's on sale now from about £50,000. That is a beast. I'll be looking forward to driving that at some point if I can. But the standard car, so this is the Advance model, and for the price it is, I'll put the price on screen because it's different. It's quite difficult to find out the price. But the price it's relatively good value. I mean, this is a hybrid, so there are the three different types of hybrid. You've got the mild hybrid system, like the Suzuki Swift, which is on sale, and that's sort of like a helper with the engine, sort of fills in the gaps where the petrol engine might not work as well. You got this, which is like a full-on hybrid, I guess, like the Prius is, and then also you've got the plug-in hybrid, like the Golf GTE, for example. This is in the middle, so this is a full-on hybrid. The battery recharges by itself. I mean, I don't like the word recharging hybrid, which is thankfully not a word that Honda uses. I know Toyota do. The way it works is the batteries will kick in and it'll charge off the regen in the car. So on this screen here, I've got a little diagram which I'll put on screen. It sort of shows the power flow of the car, which is really cool actually. So right now I'm in EV mode. If I let off the gas a little bit, it goes into regen mode, and then the little paddles here can alter the amount of regen. So I can knock it down a bit, it'll just decelerate and then charge the battery. You cannot choose to run the car in EV only mode. So with a plug-in hybrid, you can specify on the drive mode if the car was running in EV only mode, which is used for around town. But it's a small 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery. I've got a fuel gauge on the right-hand side here, and I've got a battery gauge on the left-hand side. So right now I'm running in EV mode, and there's a little power meter that shows me that the battery is driving the front wheels. And then if I put my foot down a little bit more, I'll get a bit of engine noise, which is actually fake. We'll get onto that more of that in a minute. So right now the engine is now running the front wheels, and then whatever deceleration I'm doing, because I'm knocking it back a little bit, it's feeding power into the batteries. The way it works is, I'm not going to go into full detail because frankly I don't know enough about it, but it is quite a clever system. So it's got an eCVT gearbox, so there's essentially no gears, but the car makes it feel like it has. It drives weirdly. So if I knock it into sport mode and completely floor it, I don't know if you can hear that, but you'll get some engine noise, which is completely fake. It's weird how it does that. So there isn't really a rev counter. I've got a power meter on the left hand side, I guess like a Rolls Royce, like a power meter. It just tells you, I guess the revs are just to show that the engine's doing something. There'll be more details on the Interface website, theinterface.uk. There's a written review of this Honda Civic. Will go up shortly after the video goes up, so don't forget to check that out. Link is in the top right hand corner and in the description down below. So looking at the side profile of the car, got this lovely sort of line that runs all the way from the bonnet here, sort of appears here, runs the entire length of the car, gives the car a nice sort of aggressive design slightly, but it runs all through the petrol filler cap, which is quite interesting. Petrol filler cap, just standard petrol filler cap, and again, because this is a hybrid, there isn't a charging port, it's just a standard hybrid, not a plug-in one. Up top we've got the sunroof, so this is the advanced model, so we get a sunroof as standard. It's a lovely blind that opens electrically, and there's this whole window goes on the top here, which is really nice. On this model we've got 18-inch alloy wheels. It's a diamond cut, they're black, they're all black. And then on this car here, I found it interesting, we've got Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tyres all round, which are quite an expensive tyre. It's quite good that Honda have gone to the expense of doing that. Right, let's have a look in the rear passenger compartment. Right, just stepping into the back of the Honda Civic. Plenty of room. I'm 5'7", roughly. This car is 35mm longer than the outgoing Honda Civic. There's a lot of space to put my feet underneath the driver's seat, so this is set up for my driving position. I sit a little bit further back in this car just purely because there's no clutch. A bit more comfortable. The headroom is okay back here. I've got about an inch above my head. It's not too great. I do wonder if the sunroof is contributing to that, because the blind has to go above your head. Be interested to look at the non-advanced that doesn't have the sunroof and see how much extra headroom you do get. So in the advanced model you get these pure leather seats, which is really nice. On the lower spec model you get a combination of leather and cloth. These leather seats, not a massive fan of leather seats usually, but they're actually quite soft and comfortable. Very squidgy actually. Notice the driver's seat, very squidgy materials. A bit of a map pocket here, useful for that. As I said, you can put your feet under there quite nicely. A bit of a transmission hump, and there's also 2 USB-A ports for the rear passengers. The MG4, which I just looked at, only had one USB-A port in the back, which wasn't great. By the look of things, you can actually unzip the seat covers, which is quite nice, and probably clean them if you need to. We've got some Jesus handles on all 4 seats, which is awesome. Just looking at the seats, how they fold down, we've got a armrest in the middle, which goes all the way down. 2 cup holders, one large, one small. There isn't a ski hatch fold through on this particular model. There is a 60-30 split, which we will look at in a few minutes. But overall, I think the rear compartment is pretty good, especially for longer journeys. The fact that you've got the sunroof plays a massive part into sort of bringing some sort of openness to the cabin. Doesn't make it feel quite dreary if you have that closed, which is quite nice. Also the light material here helps a lot. So we've also got, frankly, the best interior of a Honda I've ever driven. This is a really well built car. The older one was as well, but the old one didn't feel quite good enough, like looks wise. I mean, the Golf at the time was a better looking car, but I think this has only been on sale for about 7-8 months. I haven't seen that many on the road, but I mean, I can't see why you not look at this. It's really nice. I think it's better than a Golf, and this is head and shoulders above the Golf, and that's big praise, because the Golf's been at top of the league for a while, and I think VW's lost their way a little bit with their latest vehicle, especially the ID stuff. Right, around the rear of the Honda Civic, we've got this hatchback design, this very large window, and the windscreen wiper there. I do like this design. It's very visible, and it looks quite stylish as well. So little button under the boot lid. Boot's a good size. It's 410 litres, and then the rear seats, as I mentioned, fold down for a 60-30 split. A lot of good space in here. If you look under the boot floor, there's a bit of a false floor here. Not much space under there. I'd imagine some of the battery systems live under there. There's also kind of a spare wheel well, but kind of not. Repair kit lives in here. So we've got a tow bar mount, also like a pump as well for if the tyre goes flat. Also got the sub here. This car does have the Bose optional sound system, which sounds really good actually. And I really appreciate that the fact that the parcel shelf cover is sort of attached to the back window. And if you want a bit more privacy for your belongings, you've got this nice cover that pulls across quite easily. You're not going to get a parcel shelf lost or damaged, that sort of thing. Just need to get it out of the way. Pop it in there. Really good solution. There's also some good practicality points. You've got 2 little anchor points, and also there's 2 flip-up ones that are metal there. So if you've got some objects that can't move around, you've got some nice tie-down points, which is really good. So looking at the interior of the Honda Civic, and it is lovely. They've pulled some bits from the Honda E, so this driver selector button here, you've got the park, reverse, neutral and drive, that's pulled straight from the Honda E. Some of the infotainment system is kind of pulled from the Honda E, some of the UI elements. But the thing I really love about the new Honda Civic is the fact that we've got physical controls for the heating. It's just one of my real big pet peeves with cars at the moment is the lack of physical controls for heating, which is just, it's so dangerous not having physical controls for it. So it's a dual zone climate control system. So left hand side is the passenger, this is the driver's side. You can sync them together if you want to. And just very easy to use. You've got heated windscreen, heated rear window. We've got a 12-volt socket here, actually 180 watts, which is pretty impressive. Forgot to mention there's a 12-volt socket in the boot as well, which is also 180 watts. And there's two USB-A ports, no USB-C here. Two big cup holders here. I can imagine you could fit a lot in there. This one here has got two little grippy things, which is brilliant. On this model, we've got wireless charging as standard. There's two little lights to show that it's on or off, and you can turn it on if you want to. On this model, there's a 10.5-inch, roughly, screen for the driver. On the model lower down than this, there's a half and half split between a physical dial and then a screen. Got the fuel gauge on that side, and on this side is the battery gauge. We've got a 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack for the EV mode on this car. The amount of physical controls you've got is perfect. You've got an actual button for each window in the car. Physical controls the mirrors. You've got a button just to turn off the parking sensor straight away. A shortcut button to all the sensors. You can turn the brightness down for the driver's display on a dial. Really, really good. There's physical controls on steering wheel. Very, very simple. Volume up here. The settings for the left-hand panel. Settings for the right-hand panel. So you can choose what you want to view. Skip tracks, cruise control, really easy to use. A lot of the controls feel really, really solid as well. So the stalks are just really solid feeling, and a lot of what Honda have done with this car is just really, really well built. So my favourite part of the car is this air vent here. It goes across the whole width of the cabin, a little extra bit here, but these little controls to control the heating just feel so well done. There's a nice click to know when you're gone to the centre of the motion. It's impressive. I think it's one of the best cars Honda's done in a long time, actually. I'm just coming into the car in front of me. I'm just going to knock it into regen a little bit now. I can feel the car slowing down. So I've got 4-stage regen. And it's just slowly charging the batteries, and I can knock it back up and it will coast a bit more. Absolutely amazing feature. So this model is the Honda Civic Hybrid Advance. We get things like a heated steering wheel, and this steering wheel is leather, and it's really, really soft actually. Really high quality. And we've got a heated steering wheel button just underneath there. The driving experience, I've got to say, it's really, really sublime. Any sort of imperfections on the road, I can't really feel them. And just any potholes I've driven over in my Up GTI, you'll feel them a lot. And I know that's a cheaper car. It obviously was when I bought it, but it's obviously a different class of car. This is really, really nice. Seating on this model, so on all Honda Civics, the driver gets electrically adjustable seats. Again, for the class of segment it's in, not necessarily the price. I wouldn't expect to have electrically adjustable seats for the driver. On the advanced model, the passenger gets electrically adjustable seats as well, but that's manual on the spec down from this model. One small gripe, if I can find anything wrong with the Honda Civic, is the fact that the auto hold isn't on by default. So I've got to turn it on down here past the handbrake, and the auto hold will kick in. So that's the only problem I found with the Honda Civic, is the fact that the auto hold doesn't stay on. I mentioned it in the interior shots. We've got some buttons down here for the parking sensor. We can disable those. Brightness controls for the driver's display. We've got a shortcut button to the safety system. So on the screen now, I can turn off the departure warning. That, unfortunately, like most cars, that's on by default. So every time you get back in the car, you've got to turn that back on again. And it was interfering with me a bit earlier, so I've turned that off now. But as I mentioned, if that's the only problem I found with this car the past few days, the fact that the auto hold turns on or turns off automatically, so does the driver departure warning. That's pretty high praise for a car nowadays, if you can only find two little tiny things wrong with the car. So just putting away now in EV mode. And sometimes you do hear the engine spool up, so if the battery does get a little bit low, it will spool up the the engine and sort of charge the batteries and run the drivetrain. This video is proudly supported by vehiclescore.co.uk, the one-stop shop if you're looking to buy a used car, so you can get all the details and the history about that vehicle. There's no need to sign up for an account. You can do a free check and get the details of when the car was registered, how many owners it's had, how many miles it's done, the MOT history. And I like the way that Vehicle Score does a very easy to use language. So not everyone knows what all the details are on an MOT. So what Vehicle Score do is analyze all the MOT history, and then they'll just say, yes, it's good, yes, it's bad, or yes, it's average. So they'll let you know the sort of in very simple to use or simple to understand language if the MOT history has been good on that vehicle. So very, very happy to be working with Vehicle Score. And then their paid plans, if you want more details, they're very, very inexpensive. So it's about £2 for a standard check, and it's up to about £4, I believe, for a higher detailed check. If you want to get the confidence of buying your next used car, don't forget to use vehiclescore.co.uk and use the code interface10 for 10% off your next purchase. That helps support the interface and any future content we produce. So I'm just going to check into sport mode now, see if we can see how fun this Honda Civic is to drive. So considering this generation Honda Civic has the sort of the very analog Civic Type R, this is more of a hybrid. I'd be interested to see what this car feels like on some twisty roads. So you get an increased rev range, if there's a rev range, so you get more. Well, yeah, it's so weird, but you get it. The engine sounds a little bit louder, which obviously is a fake sound. But I mean, if this is anything to go by, the Type R should be pretty good fun. I mean, obviously this vehicle is designed for a lot softer use. It's sort of just a lot more relaxing car to drive than hot hatchbacks, but just dynamically you can feel that there's a lot of potential underneath it. Very high quality car. I'm very impressed so far. But the sport mode doesn't turn off the EV mode, doesn't disable any charging, just makes the car a little bit louder. So it's not an EV mode, but sport mode. So it doesn't disable the EV mode any faster by the look of things. And it's even charging the batteries right now. It's EV mode again now. So sport mode's good. So what modes have we ever got? We've got normal mode, we've got econ, that makes the car feel a little bit slower. And we've got individual, which I've got some settings set in there from the previous driver. So this has got the Bose 12 speaker system. So it's got 4 I can see in the front, possibly a few more in the back, but there's a sub in the back which sounds really, really nice in the boot. So very, very impressive sound system, and if you can stretch to the advanced model, I definitely would. You get 18-inch diamond cut wheels, you get the heated leather steering wheel, you get the Bose speaker system. Just the Bose speaker system alone is pretty worth it in my opinion. So very, very good all round. So what do I think about the Honda Civic Hybrid? Well, I'll be honest, I overlooked the car. I didn't even think much of the Honda Civic initially, but I've got to say, the past few days, it's a really lovely car. I mean, just the build quality that Honda have done, the physical switches, which is a just complete no-brainer compared to when people are doing everything on the touchscreen, and this is just so much easier to use. You can control the fan speed, not have to look away from the road, which is just dangerous. So I think if you're in the market for a Golf-sized car, definitely consider the Honda Civic. It's got a larger boot than the Golf. Just go and test drive one, because you'll be surprised how comfortable, how refined, how quiet, and how nice this vehicle is. So definitely check out the Honda Civic Hybrid. I mean, if you're in the market for a more performance-focused car, check out the Honda Civic Type R. Definitely quite an expensive vehicle. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this review of the Honda Civic Hybrid. I've certainly enjoyed my time with this vehicle. As I said, incredibly good. It's the best Honda they've done in a very long time. Thanks again to vehiclescore.co.uk for sponsoring this video. Check them out in the link down below. Don't forget to use the code interface10 for 10% off. I've been Alex. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you again next time.